Good morning, Camille here. I wanted to make a quick video before my tree guys come, because these two trees and a bunch in the back are going to come down. So these two giant trees right next to my driveway are going to come down because they're more than half dead, and any branches that, fall on the cars I don't want the branches to fall on my car or anybody else that's parking in the driveway. And then back here, everything's coming down because they're all in the same stage of mostly dead. These two are extremely close to the house, so they're even more important. But if they're all at the same, they're all pretty dead. So these two, those two, I've already started. I've already cut down the two bushes over there, because not only are they, this one was way more dead than this one, but this one wasn't, he wasn't terrible, but I hated these bushes because they had the small stump and they spread out, so my dogs kept on going under there to poop, and so I couldn't reach it. And that guy is coming out, even though he's a young tree, because he's way too close to the power lines. And actually, there's also a, I don't know about like tree proximity to gas lines, but there's a gas line. Oh, I thought that it was, if I look close enough, I could still see the mark. But the gas line is like right here, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, and there's a bunch of my neighbor's trees growing through the fence there, so I took down a bunch of those. I took down a couple of these branches, but my tree guys were thinking about starting yesterday, but then they got too busy, I guess. Their last project ran too long. So I just wanted to show you guys before it's down. And I'm hoping, if I'm lucky enough, these guys are really close to the concrete. And obviously they're way too close to the house. But if I'm lucky enough, maybe I can move them without killing them. But that's it for today. See ya. Let's see. Does this one count? This is just the bark, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. Alright, I can't make it out any further than that, but it's like 57 years. Hello. So it's Monday night, May 4th, and he's cut down another tree over there, and he's got a lot of branches off of this guy down, and so yeah, a good chunk of the top half. I don't know that this one is completely gone now, and the helpers cleaned up all of the branches and stuff from that. Oh yeah, and this half of it is gone too, and those two were the first two to go. So that's all for now as far as the trees go. So it's taken me a while to finally finish this video. I was finally sitting down to edit and post it, but I had two different clips that I had said all of the facts, and the first one, I don't like how I said those certain things, and then this last one that I recorded a few days ago, it's like, no, that's not I misordered a couple of things, I guess. Anyways, so when my story starts now, it's the week of May 9th. And the tree guy said that he was finally going to start stump grinding on Tuesday that week. So I think it's Tuesday, May 9th. Because it's taken a while, because he was waiting on parts for his stump grinder, or for his bobcat. Anyways, so
I can't remember what day, but sometime before this, my dad had talked to him when I wasn't present. And based on how that conversation went, my dad said he doesn't seem very concerned about the gas lines, because they're the main gas line for the whole neighborhood goes down this back fence line, and then there's the small gas line that comes up over here where the bushes and that small tree are. There's a small gas line that comes up, and we had 811 locates done when we started trying to do the fence over at this corner. We haven't done all of it yet, but we got 811 locates when we put the post in. And they didn't do the whole backyard, but we knew that, okay, the gas line is really close over there even. So, and we knew that the gas line was back there, but we don't know where. At the time, we didn't know where it was. So, based off of how that conversation with my dad and him went, he said to me, hey, let's just ask him for his proof of insurance before we let him do any of that. And I'm like, sure, that should be fine, because literally the very first thing that I said to him when we started talking via Facebook was, I asked him, do you have insurance? And he said, yes, but I've never had to use it. Hindsight, get proof of insurance before you let them start. But, so on Monday, then when my dad mentioned this to me, I messaged the tree guy A, we'll say, and said, hey, before you start any of the stump grinding, we would really like your proof of insurance. And he responded back, no problem, I will go home and look for it after I'm done with this project. Then I didn't hear from him the rest of the night. My impression was he was going to start the next day. Next day comes, I don't hear from him at all. He doesn't stop by. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, so of course my dad and I are working in the house every single day, almost all day, this entire week. So Thursday, tree guy shows up and starts doing some work. And we were in the basement, but we heard like machinery going. And so I come up, and then I wait for him to shut off his chainsaw, because he was cutting the stumps even closer to the ground. And after he turns that off, I walk up and I say, hey, were you able to find your proof of insurance? And he says, no. And I ask him, well, do you have it on your phone, or can you open it up? And he said, no, I don't have anything on my phone. And he said, well, maybe I can look in my email. And so he opens up his phone, looks for like 10-20 seconds, and then locks it and puts it away. Well, so I asked him, well, maybe, do you know the name of the company? I can give them a call. And he said, well, American something. That's not very helpful. So I didn't know what exactly to say. So I went in and I told my dad everything that he had said. And my dad asked me, well, do you want me to go out and tell him that he can't do any work without proof of insurance? And I said, yeah, because I'm too nice. I know that I need to put my foot down about this. Gas lines are not something to mess around with. But I'm having a hard time putting my foot down with him. So my dad and I are still talking about everything. Now the tree guy is in the front, and he has a stump grinder on his trailer. And so my dad and I are standing at the door at the front of the garage. We have the pedestrian door open. And then tree guy turns on the stump grinder, and so we rush out there, and my dad says to him, hey, we really can't let you do any stump grinding until we have your proof of insurance. So tree guy shuts off the stump grinder and says, well, I guess I can go home again and look for it. Go home and look for it again. And so he starts putting some stuff in his vehicle, and so my dad and I come back inside, and we're talking about all of it. And then a little bit later, the stump grinder turns on, and it's driving through the yard now. And my dad, we're at the back door now, and my dad's like, I'll go out there and tell him to leave. And I'm like, no, just give it a moment. So the tree guy drives the stump grinder back to one of the back stumps and sits there and turns it off. So I'm thinking, this is a great sign. He knows that he'll be able to find his proof of insurance. We've put our foot down. He knows he'll be able to find his proof of insurance and come back to work, right? Well, I've fed all of this into AI, and I'm not saying that this is what his intention was, but that can be a manipulative tactic. Again, I'm not saying that's what he is doing, but that's what it can be. But, so anyways, That was Thursday. I didn't hear from him at all the rest of the night. Friday comes, and my dad and I are working in the house, and Tree Guy shows up, and now he's sitting on the ground, like just about right underneath of the stump grinder. But I seemed to recall that there was a root that was like coming out of the ground right there, and I look a little bit closer, and I think he had a sawzall cutting that. And so my dad rushes out though and tells him, hey, we really can't let you do any work in the yard without proof of insurance. And Tree Guy throws his hands up and says, I have insurance, and starts stomping off. And so I'm closer to the door, but I try to yell after him, still being a nice person. I say to him, hey, you might have insurance, but we need to see proof of it. So he leaves, and my dad and I are talking about, my dad had tried to look him up on the Secretary of State's website and couldn't find anything. So we decide it's a weekday at 3 p.m. Let's give them a call real quick. So I call them. The lady is extremely helpful. I have his first and last name from Facebook. So I give her that. I give her the supposed company name, and it's out of Minot, North Dakota. And she is trying her darndest to find this. The very closest thing that she could find has the same, the beginning of the company name is the same, but it's contracting, and it's out of I can't remember where, but it's out of someplace else. She even looked up every single company with the words tree service in the name for Minot, and we couldn't find anything close. And so I asked her, well, are people able to get insurance without a business license? And she did not want to say no. She was very careful with her wording. But she said that is the very first thing that insurance companies will ask for, is the business license number. So we're thinking he doesn't have insurance, but we don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I'm trying to be as nice as possible through all this, even though, whatever. But as I'm talking to her, wrapping up the conversation, asking her, well, what would you recommend? I get a message from him via Facebook Messenger saying that he can't find his proof of insurance. His girlfriend has everything organized, and he's not allowed to touch any of it. But here's the proof of insurance for the company who's doing the stump grinding. I had to read that a couple of times to understand it, because I'm thinking you're doing the stump grinding. But then so I look at this proof of insurance for this other company, and it's actually the other company that I got a quote from by coincidence. But so I'm thinking, I don't know how this works. I don't know if he's subcontracting with them, what he's doing here. But the last time I spoke to that other company, Company B, I had said to him, hey, I'm going with a different company. Thank you so much for your time. And he had asked me, do you mind if I ask who you went with? And I didn't answer that. I feel weird in those situations. I feel like I'm contributing to unfriendly competition or something. I don't know. I don't like those kind of questions. So I left him on red. But now that Tree Service A gave me his proof of insurance. So I message him and I say, hey, so-and-so from this tree service is who I went with. He can't find his proof of insurance, and now he says that you're doing the stump grinding. And so guy from B, Tree Service B, messages back, says, yes, I know him, and I do have insurance. And I said to him, yes, he actually gave me your proof of insurance. I just want to verify that you were doing the stump grinding. And he said yes. And so we ended up talking about locates, getting 811 locates done. I was about to do it, but I guess homeowners are not allowed to do it on behalf of a contractor. So I told him that, and within 10-15 minutes, he responds with a screenshot that he already has the 811 ticket done. Let's see, this is all happening on Friday this week now, the week that happened. Then, when my dad and I are actually sitting down for supper, I get this long message from Tree Service A. And he says, I don't appreciate your dad talking to me like that. I don't appreciate how he said that I can't do any work in the yard. If you want me to put on an FTK t-shirt for the day, I will. But then he also said, I can give you some names of other companies if you want, and I'll drop $500 off the price if that's what you decide. And so through all of this, I'm thinking, it's like, I've done enough research. I'm pretty sure putting on a different company's t-shirt for the day doesn't magically make their insurance cover you. I'm pretty sure the insurance companies would have something to say about that. I don't know, though. If he doesn't have a business license, maybe they would just say, oh yeah, he's their employee. I don't know. But I ended up saying to him, well, because my dad's been in my ear this entire time saying that he's doing an awful lot of work for the amount of money that we agreed upon, because I guess I skipped over, I'm going to be careful how I word this. There were reasons why I decided to go with him instead of Tree Service B. And even though his quote was higher, and he ended up beating the other guy's quote by $200. And I'm not giving any numbers, but it was a significant drop from his original quote. Tree Service B actually, at the end of all this, said, yeah, you have to be careful with companies who are willing to match or beat prices, because there might be a reason why they're able to do that. In this case, we are thinking he doesn't have a business license or insurance. Again, I don't have proof, but I also don't have proof that he does. So, anyways, after that whole thing, I message Tree Service A back, and I say, when would you like to pick up the rest of your stuff and a check for this much money? And he reads it the following day, Saturday, then comes and picks up his stuff, and I give him a check, and he leaves. And there wasn't nothing interesting happened there. He just grabbed his stuff. I had my mom standing there with me, and he left. So I messaged Tree Service B, and I said, hey, I am no longer doing business with so-and-so anymore. If you are still comfortable with doing the stump grinding, I would really appreciate that, and I will pay you directly. I wanted to say that because I didn't know otherwise how he was getting paid. And he responded back that he's still comfortable doing it. And it was 1 or 2 days before he started. The stump grinder that Tree Guy A had actually ended up being Tree Guy B's stump grinder, which, after I looked at it closer, oh yeah, it has Tree Guy B's phone number and logo and everything on it. He ended up having to pick it up, and he had to do some work at some other place in the neighborhood, I guess. And so he came back a couple days later, and he did a couple hours in the evening for quite a few evenings. And I have no problem with this. I don't have a timeline anymore. I wanted the trees down before the roof work started, but now I'm having an issue with my roof contractor. I cannot pick a good contractor for the life of me. But he did a wonderful job. I mean, so there was the humps around some of those trees were pretty sizable, and it's perfectly flat now. And my grass is coming in nicely, and I have a new baby tree planted. And that saga is over. On to the next one.